As global markets navigate the complexities of geopolitics and economic uncertainty, two significant developments have emerged that underline the precarious balance of trade relationships and their potential impact on the U.S. economy. These developments, the introduction of reciprocal tariffs by the Biden administration and heightened recession fears among dealmakers, underscore the challenges facing the American economy as it attempts to maintain growth amid shifting international dynamics. On April 2, 2025, President Joe Biden announced the implementation of reciprocal tariffs as part of a broader strategy to address the trade imbalances that have plagued the U.S. for years. This move aims to impose equivalent tariffs on countries that levy duties on American goods, a tactic that critics warn could ignite a trade war and exacerbate inflation. The lack of reciprocity contributes to our large and persistent annual trade deficit that's gutted our industries and hollowed out key workforces, remarked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. While the intention is to protect U.S. interests, experts argue that such unilateral measures risk dismantling the multilateral trade framework established over decades, potentially leading to widespread economic ramifications. The immediate consequences of these tariffs could be significant. Economic forecasts suggest that consumer prices in the U.S. could rise as much as 1.7% even without retaliatory actions from other nations. If trading partners respond in kind, that figure could escalate to 2.1%, dampening consumer spending and hindering economic growth. The backlash from international leaders has already begun, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen warning that all instruments are on the table to retaliate if necessary. Concurrently, the middle market mergers and acquisitions (M&A) sector is grappling with renewed recession fears. A recent survey conducted by the Association for Corporate Growth (ACG) reveals that 69% of middle-market dealmakers anticipate a recession in the U.S. by 2026. This sentiment reflects a broader anxiety as economic indicators fluctuate and international trade tensions rise. Goldman Sachs has increased its recession probability forecast from 20% to 35%, while J.P. Morgan Chase has raised its estimate to 40%. Such uncertainty has prompted investors to adopt a cautious wait-and-see approach as they navigate the complexities of potential market downturns. Tuan Nguyen, an economist at RSM US LLP, expressed a cautious optimism, suggesting that despite the threats posed by tariffs and political instability, the U.S. economy could experience a late-cycle slowdown rather than a full-blown recession. "We think that the economy is experiencing a late-cycle slowdown and net growth should ease to at or below 1.5% in the current quarter," he noted. This perspective is echoed by dealmakers who have become adept at adapting their strategies in response to economic fluctuations, employing creative deal structures and focusing on recession-resilient sectors such as healthcare and manufacturing. As M&A professionals continue to refine their strategies, emerging technologies like artificial intelligence are becoming integral to deal workflows, enabling more efficient due diligence and market analysis. This technological integration may provide dealmakers with the tools needed to navigate potential headwinds effectively. In light of these developments, the trajectory of the U.S. economy remains uncertain. The Biden administration's tariff strategy, while aimed at protecting American interests, could provoke retaliatory actions that further complicate the landscape. Simultaneously, the M&A sector is poised to adapt and respond to economic challenges, leveraging lessons learned from previous downturns. The interplay between these factors will undoubtedly shape the economic landscape in the coming months as both policymakers and business leaders seek to chart a course through turbulent waters. Looking ahead, the outcomes of these initiatives will be closely monitored. As recession fears loom and trade tensions escalate, the ability of the U.S. economy to maintain stability and foster growth will depend on strategic decision-making and adaptive strategies in both the public and private sectors. The coming months will be critical in determining how effectively the U.S. can navigate these complex challenges and emerge resilient in an ever-evolving global landscape. In a world increasingly captivated by the intersection of technology and daily life, recent developments in various sectors underscore the pressing challenges and opportunities that communities face. From local governance to national sports events, the influence of technology and the need for effective communication have never been more apparent. In Fort Payne, Alabama, the City Council recently convened to address the importance of timely agenda setting. Council President Walter Watson emphasized the necessity of submitting agenda items in advance to ensure public transparency and effective communication. The Council should follow the rules set or change the rules, noted Councilmember Lynn Brewer, highlighting the Council's commitment to operate within established guidelines. The discussion also touched on the need for flexibility, with suggestions to adjust submission deadlines to better accommodate last-minute items. This conversation illustrates not only the procedural intricacies of local governance but also the critical role of clear communication in fostering public trust and engagement. Meanwhile, the sports world is buzzing with anticipation as NASCAR prepares for a thrilling championship weekend in Phoenix. As the series approaches its climax, racing enthusiasts are gearing up for a series of events that will culminate in the crowning of champions across the Truck Xfinity and Cup Series. With 3 winners expected to emerge from a weekend filled with competitive races, the atmosphere is electric. Ken Willis of the Daytona Beach News-Journal noted that the marquee event, the 400-mile Cup Series race, will feature prominent contenders like Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, each aiming for victory. The coverage promises to be extensive, with major networks broadcasting the races and keeping fans engaged with real-time updates. On a more somber note, the community continues to grapple with the lingering effects of tragedy. The death of Ethan Liming 3 years ago still reverberates through the lives of those involved. As detailed in a recent piece by the Akron Beacon-Journal, the incident serves as a poignant reminder of the ongoing impact that violence and loss can have on families and communities. As discussions around this event resurface, they open up broader dialogues about safety, accountability, and the societal changes needed to prevent such tragedies in the future. Overall, these varied narratives reflect a microcosm of the challenges being faced in contemporary society. From the importance of effective governance and communication to the excitement of sports and the need for community healing, one can see how technology and media play crucial roles in shaping public perception and response. As we move forward, it is clear that ongoing discussions and developments in these areas will continue to be significant, influencing both local and national landscapes in the months and years to come. The call for transparency, safety, and excitement resonates deeply, reminding us that our collective future hinges on how we navigate these complex issues together. In a testament to the ever-evolving landscape of wealth in America, Forbes has unveiled its 2025 World's Billionaires list, showcasing a significant mix of familiar names and emerging figures. Among the highlights is the notable rise of Houston's own Tillman Fertitta, who has cemented his status as the city's wealthiest resident while also eyeing a potential role in diplomacy. Tillman Fertitta, the CEO of Landry's Incorporated and owner of the Houston Rockets, has made headlines by ranking 220th on the global list with an impressive net worth of $11.3 billion, a substantial increase from $9.4 billion just a year prior. This growth of nearly 20% underscores not only Fertitta's business acumen but also the recovery and expansion of his ventures post-pandemic. Fertitta, who first gained recognition as Houston's richest individual in the 2024 Forbes 400 list, is currently nominated for the role of U.S. Ambassador to Italy and San Marino. Should he be confirmed, he would step back from his executive responsibilities at Landry's while maintaining a passive stake in the company. Houston is well represented this year, with a total of 18 individuals making the prestigious list, including one new entrant. This reflects the city's dynamic economy and its position as a hub for entrepreneurship and innovation. The influx of wealth is emblematic of broader trends in the U.S. economy, where recovery from the pandemic has led to significant gains for numerous billionaires. In contrast, Nevada's Miriam Adelson has experienced a different trajectory. Despite an increase in her net worth to $32.1 billion, she has slipped out of the top 50 rankings, landing in 56th place. This shift highlights the fierce competition among the ultra-wealthy, as other billionaires have seen more considerable gains. The technology sector continues to dominate the upper echelons of the list, with Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Larry Ellison occupying the top 4 spots. The tech boom, driven by innovations and digital transformations, has generated immense wealth for industry leaders, overshadowing those in other sectors. Adelson's case serves as a reminder of the volatile nature of wealth rankings, where market fluctuations and investment successes can dramatically change positions year over year. Despite her fall in rank, her wealth still surpasses that of many prominent figures, indicating her substantial status within the billionaire class. The 2025 list also reflects shifting economic power dynamics and the increasing significance of technology and digital entrepreneurship, with 7 of the top 10 billionaires hailing from the tech sector. It's clear that innovation continues to drive wealth accumulation. This trend raises questions about the future of wealth distribution and the potential for new entrepreneurs to enter the billionaire ranks as technology evolves. As we look ahead, the implications of these rankings extend beyond mere numbers. They reveal underlying economic trends, investment strategies, and shifts in consumer behavior that will shape the future landscape of wealth. The story of Tillman Fertitta and others on the list is not just about their personal fortunes. It encapsulates larger narratives about resilience, adaptation, and opportunity in a rapidly changing world. As new names emerge and established figures continue to navigate their paths, the next few years promise to be an intriguing chapter in the evolving saga of global wealth. In a poignant moment for the sports and business communities, Junior Bridgman, an iconic figure who transitioned from a successful basketball career to a thriving business empire, has passed away at the age of 71. Bridgman, best known for his time with the Milwaukee Bucks, not only made a name for himself on the court but also emerged as a savvy entrepreneur after retiring from professional sports. His journey from athlete to businessman exemplified the potential for athletes to leverage their fame and experience into fruitful ventures. Bridgman's business acumen flourished in the food industry, where he gained significant success as the owner of several Wendy's franchises. His story serves as an inspiration, demonstrating how sports figures can pivot successfully into the corporate world. Junior Bridgman was a shining example of how to take the skills learned in sports and apply them to the business arena, noted a close associate. His passing leaves a legacy that resonates beyond his basketball achievements, emphasizing the importance of entrepreneurship among retired athletes. In another realm of the corporate landscape, Synchrony Financial has recently garnered recognition, being named the second best company to work for in the United States by Fortune magazine and Great Place to Work. This prestigious accolade reflects Synchrony's commitment to fostering a people-centric culture that prioritizes the well-being of its employees. The company's president and CEO Brian Doubles expressed pride in the organization's achievements, stating, "Our people are true partners in our success. We listen to and trust our employees to drive innovation and results." The survey results supporting this recognition are compelling. 94% of Synchrony employees reported feeling that it is a great place to work, with significant numbers citing flexibility and constructive feedback from management as key components of their positive experiences. Such high satisfaction levels are indicative of a broader trend where companies that prioritize employee engagement and well-being tend to excel in financial performance and innovation. Meanwhile, Cadence Design Systems has also made headlines, securing the 11th spot on the Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For list. This marks the 11th consecutive year that Cadence has been recognized, underscoring its commitment to creating a high-trust workplace environment. Dr. Anirudh Devgan, Cadence's president and CEO, credited the company's success to its culture of trust and integrity, which empowers employees to thrive and innovate. "The strength of our high-performance culture fosters innovation and drives customer success," he remarked. Both Synchrony and Cadence exemplify a vital narrative in the contemporary workplace: the significance of nurturing a supportive and engaging environment for employees. According to Michael C. Bush, CEO of Great Place to Work, how companies treat their employees directly correlates with their financial performance, suggesting that investing in employee satisfaction is not merely a moral imperative but a strategic business decision. As organizations continue to adapt to the evolving workplace landscape, the recognition received by companies like Synchrony and Cadence could serve as a blueprint for others aiming to enhance their workplace culture. The future will likely see an increasing emphasis on employee engagement strategies as businesses recognize that a satisfied workforce is integral to sustained success. As the corporate world reflects on the legacies left by individuals like Junior Bridgman and the achievements of companies prioritizing their employees, it is clear that the intersection of sports, business and employee satisfaction will remain a pivotal discussion in the years to come. In a turbulent day for global markets, U.S. stock futures saw a notable decline as investors awaited crucial details about President Trump's impending trade tariffs anticipated to be detailed in a Liberation Day event. This announcement, slated for 4 p.m. Eastern Time on April 2, 2025, is expected to introduce reciprocal tariffs that could heavily impact U.S. trade dynamics and fuel ongoing tensions with international partners. The backdrop to this market volatility includes Trump's mixed messaging regarding the scope of the tariffs. Recent statements indicate a potential blanket tariff of 20% on most imports, which could lead to significant price increases for American consumers. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has suggested these high rates may serve as a cap for negotiations, leaving market participants anxious about the economic repercussions. Analysts warn that such tariffs could elevate inflation, with a Yale Budget Lab study estimating that a 20% tariff might increase consumer prices by 2.1% to 2.6%. This translates to an annual loss of $3,400 to $4,200 per household, with food prices expected to rise significantly. The uncertainty surrounding these tariffs has already started to exert pressure on financial markets. U.S. stock futures slid as reports surfaced that the tariffs would not be limited to only the most egregious trading partners but would encompass all nations involved in trade with the U.S. This broad approach has left Wall Street reeling, with many strategists revising their year-end projections for the S&P 500 downward amid concerns about economic growth. Meanwhile, the implications of Trump's tariff policies extend beyond mere market fluctuations. The auto industry stands to be one of the hardest hit, with a 25% tariff on imported vehicles expected to increase prices significantly, potentially by up to $15,000 per vehicle. According to Goldman Sachs, automakers are already reporting a surge in consumer purchasing as buyers rush to secure vehicles before prices rise. This could lead to inventory shortages, further complicating the supply chain in an already strained market. In addition to the auto sector, the broader implications for manufacturing are becoming evident. Data released indicated a contraction in manufacturing activity driven by rising costs and uncertainty around Trump's tariff policies. This contraction poses a risk of recession if the tariffs lead to a prolonged trade war, as many economists fear. International responses to this impending tariff policy have also begun to take shape. The European Union has indicated readiness to retaliate against U.S. tariffs, while Canada and Mexico are weighing their options following the recent escalations. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has hinted that no retaliatory measures are off the table, emphasizing the importance of maintaining economic sovereignty amid the rising tensions. As the market braces for the details of Trump's tariffs, the potential fallout is creating a ripple effect across multiple sectors. Investors and consumers alike are left to ponder the long-term impacts of these aggressive trade policies as speculation mounts regarding economic stability and growth in the face of rising prices and geopolitical tensions. The coming days will be pivotal not only for the stock market but for the broader economic landscape as America embarks on this new chapter of trade negotiations. In a bold move that could reshape the landscape of clean energy in the United States, President Donald Trump has announced a new set of tariffs on a wide range of imported goods, a decision that experts warn could have significant ramifications for the nation's transition to renewable energy. Slated to take effect soon, these tariffs are part of Trump's broader strategy to encourage domestic manufacturing and reduce dependency on foreign imports. However, the implications for the clean energy sector, which relies heavily on international supply chains, could be dire. Trump has dubbed this initiative Liberation Day, suggesting that the tariffs will catalyze a renaissance in American manufacturing that has been in decline for decades. Yet while the intention may be to bolster domestic industries, analysts are concerned that the tariffs could lead to higher costs for essential components used in renewable energy technologies. "It just seems like where we are headed is totally uncharted," commented Noah Kaufman, a climate economist at Columbia University, expressing the uncertainty that many industry leaders feel regarding the potential fallout from these tariffs. The administration's plan includes a significant 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, alongside previous duties on steel and aluminum. Such measures are expected to inflate the costs of electricity, automobiles, and gasoline as companies grapple with price increases for the materials essential for clean energy infrastructure. The Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas recently highlighted a pervasive sense of uncertainty within the oil and gas sector, with industry executives reporting sharp increases in costs for casing and tubing due to the tariffs. Moreover, the tariffs threaten to exacerbate existing shortages of key electrical components like transformers and circuit breakers, which have already been in short supply for over 4 years. The energy sector's struggle to keep pace with rising electricity demand, particularly from burgeoning data centers, could worsen as utilities increasingly rely on foreign sourcing for equipment. This strategic shift could become precarious in light of the tariffs, which have already prompted companies to reconsider their supply chain logistics. The interconnectedness of the U.S. automotive and energy sectors further complicates matters. Automakers have built extensive supply chains across North America, making them vulnerable to disruptions caused by new tariffs. Popular electric vehicles such as the Ford Mustang Mach-E and Chevrolet Equinox are assembled in Mexico using parts sourced from various countries, including the United States. The potential for retaliatory tariffs from other countries could spiral into a trade war, as Enrique Milan Mejia from the Atlantic Council warns, creating a scenario where everyone ultimately loses. Despite the challenges posed by the tariffs, there is a possibility that they could spur some positive developments in the global energy landscape. As U.S. tariffs make it more difficult for China to export its clean energy technologies, there may be an impetus for that country to seek new markets in developing nations, potentially accelerating the adoption of renewable energy technologies in regions that previously lagged behind. You could conceivably see a world where the energy transition starts to accelerate slightly in some of those poorer countries, noted Antoine Wagner-Jones, a supply chain analyst at Bloomberg NEF. However, the consensus among experts remains cautious. Many predict that the process of reconfiguring supply chains will take years, and the resulting price increases could dampen consumer demand for renewable technologies. Sam Abulsamid of Telemetry Insight estimates that tariffs could add as much as 15% to the price of new vehicles, a change that could lead to lower sales and factory closures in the automotive sector. The utility industry, too, faces a long road ahead as manufacturers work to ramp up production of essential components needed to meet growing electricity demands. In the realm of solar energy, U.S. manufacturers have made strides since the introduction of the Inflation Reduction Act, increasing domestic production of solar modules. However, the reliance on imported components remains a sticking point, with the economic feasibility of tariffs on finished products versus individual parts still uncertain. As Michael Carr, executive director of the Solar Energy Manufacturers for America Coalition, articulates, tariffs can be a part of the solution set, but they're not necessarily dependable enough that you can invest against them. As Trump's tariffs loom on the horizon, the clean energy sector stands at a crossroads. The potential for increased domestic manufacturing is tempered by the realities of a global market that has evolved over decades. The coming months will be crucial for stakeholders as they navigate this complex landscape, balancing the promise of bolstered U.S. manufacturing against the risks of higher costs and disrupted supply chains. The future of the clean energy transition may depend not only on domestic policy but also on how effectively industries can adapt to a rapidly changing economic environment. Recent research published in Nature has provided compelling evidence that the gut microbiota, particularly the presence of bifidobacteria, plays a crucial role in optimizing vaccine responses in infants. This study, conducted by a team from various Australian institutions, tracked 191 healthy vaginally born infants from birth to 15 months to assess the impact of antibiotic exposure on immune responses to routine vaccinations. The study's findings are particularly significant in the context of rising antibiotic use in neonatal care. It has been established that such exposure can impair vaccine responses, but the mechanisms behind this phenomenon were not well understood until now. The researchers found that infants who received antibiotics in the neonatal period exhibited significantly lower antibody titers to several vaccine antigens compared to those who were not exposed. Specifically, the study noted reduced responses to the 13-valent pneumococcal conjugate vaccine and the Haemophilus influenza type B polyribosyl ribitol phosphate, as well as diphtheria toxoid antigens. Blood samples taken from infants exposed to neonatal antibiotics showed an inflammatory transcriptional profile prior to vaccination. Additionally, fecal metagenomics revealed a decreased abundance of bifidobacterium species in these infants at the time of vaccination, which correlated with lower antibody levels 6 months later. In preclinical models, antibody responses to the pneumococcal vaccine were found to be heavily reliant on an intact microbiota but could be restored in germ-free mice by administering a consortium of bifidobacterium species or a commonly used probiotic in neonatal units. The implications of this research are far-reaching. It suggests that interventions aimed at restoring or maintaining a healthy microbiome could help mitigate the adverse effects of early-life antibiotic exposure on vaccine immunogenicity. Given the critical role of effective vaccination in public health, particularly for vulnerable populations like infants, these findings underline the importance of microbiota-targeted strategies in enhancing vaccine efficacy. The study also emphasizes the broader impact of antibiotics on immune system development and function. Cumulative antibiotic exposure during infancy has been associated with not only reduced vaccine responses but also potential long-term consequences on individual health and immunity. As antibiotic stewardship becomes increasingly important in clinical practice, understanding how these medications influence the microbiome and subsequently vaccine responses could guide more informed prescribing practices. Looking forward, the researchers advocate for randomized controlled trials to evaluate the efficacy of probiotic interventions in infants exposed to antibiotics. Such studies could pave the way for incorporating microbiota management into pediatric healthcare, potentially improving vaccine outcomes and fostering better overall health in children. The findings serve as a reminder of the intricate relationship between our microbiota and immune responses, suggesting that nurturing a healthy gut flora could be just as crucial as the vaccines themselves in protecting against infectious diseases. In an era characterized by relentless productivity pressures, the concept of taking breaks, especially micro breaks, has emerged as a transformative strategy for enhancing workplace well-being and performance. A recent meta-analysis published in PLOS One underscores the significant advantages of these short pauses, revealing that they can dramatically reduce fatigue and boost energy levels, particularly in creative tasks. This research challenges the long-standing notion that constant busyness equates to success, inviting individuals and organizations to reconsider the value of intentional downtime. The cultural roots of our aversion to breaks can be traced back to the Protestant work ethic as articulated by sociologist Max Weber over a century ago. Weber posited that hard work became synonymous with moral virtue, embedding a belief that productivity must always be prioritized. In today's hyper-connected world where technology facilitates an always-on mentality, this pressure has intensified, often resulting in stress, burnout, and diminished cognitive capabilities. Research from the Harvard Business Review suggests that the relentless demands of modern work life may hinder our capacity for deep reflective thinking. Yet, as paradoxical as it may seem, our minds and bodies require rest to function optimally. The act of pausing offers several critical benefits. It enables individuals to attune to their inner signals, fosters creativity by allowing the subconscious to make unexpected connections, and provides an opportunity to realign with personal and professional priorities. The meta-analysis in PLOS 1 highlights that even brief 10-minute micro-breaks can significantly enhance vigor and reduce fatigue, with longer breaks yielding even greater cognitive and emotional benefits. To effectively integrate pausing into daily routines, experts suggest several practical steps. Individuals can start with micropauses, brief intervals away from screens to breathe and reflect. Scheduling pause days allows for a more extended disconnection from work, facilitating deeper rejuvenation. Furthermore, questioning long-standing assumptions about productivity can pave the way for a more balanced approach to work. Real-life examples illustrate the positive outcomes of embracing pauses. One business leader reduced their client load to explore new ideas, while another entrepreneur initiated a morning routine dedicated to personal reflection, yielding enhanced clarity and decision-making. Historical figures such as Winston Churchill and Jane Goodall have long recognized the importance of solitude for creativity and intuition, further validating the need for intentional breaks in the modern workplace. As organizations navigate the complexities of workforce dynamics, particularly with the ongoing return-to-office (RTO) debates, the importance of flexibility and inclusivity in workplace policies becomes increasingly apparent. Conversations with experts such as Megan Pyro-Chacos from Saramount reveal that RTO strategies must align with the diverse needs of employees. Research indicates that a significant percentage of Gen Z and non-Gen Z employees prefer hybrid or fully remote work arrangements for various reasons, including caregiving responsibilities and health concerns. Ignoring these preferences can lead to disengagement and increased turnover, ultimately affecting an organization's ability to attract diverse talent. Therefore, it is imperative for leadership to adopt a thoughtful approach by actively listening to employee feedback and incorporating it into RTO strategies. This engagement fosters a sense of belonging and drives innovation through diverse perspectives. The challenges faced by women in the workforce, particularly in light of RTO mandates, further underscore the need for flexible policies. Many women have benefited from the flexibility of remote work, allowing them to balance professional and caregiving duties. As organizations transition back to office-centric models, there is a risk that this flexibility could diminish, impacting women's career progression. To counteract this, companies are urged to adopt varied working arrangements and cultivate mentorship and sponsorship opportunities that support women's advancement. Employee resource groups (ERGs) play a vital role in this landscape by articulating the unique needs of different demographics. By incorporating the insights of ERGs into the RTO planning process, organizations can ensure their policies are inclusive and practically applicable, thereby fostering a more equitable workplace environment. As the dialogue around RTO strategies evolves, the implications of these discussions extend beyond mere logistics. They touch upon the need for a paradigm shift towards a more flexible, purpose-driven work culture that recognizes the value of both productivity and well-being. As one client aptly stated, after taking a purposeful pause, clarity can emerge, allowing individuals to pursue their commitments with renewed energy and intention. In conclusion, as we move forward, the integration of micro-breaks and flexible RTO strategies will be critical in shaping healthier and more effective work environments. Organizations that prioritize these elements stand to benefit not only from enhanced employee satisfaction but also from improved performance and innovation. The journey towards a more balanced approach to work may be challenging, but it is undoubtedly essential for nurturing both individual and organizational success in the future. In a thought-provoking exploration of the darker corners of online culture, Jack Thorne, the co-creator of the Netflix series Adolescence, shares insights into the alarming allure of incel ideology among youth. The limited series, which has captivated audiences with its gripping narrative, follows Jamie, a 13-year-old boy accused of murdering his classmate Katie.
The show's narrative delves into the factors leading to this tragic event, highlighting themes of online radicalization and bullying.
Thorne's research for the series took him deep into the so-called manosphere, a term used to describe a collection of online communities that promote misogynistic beliefs and behaviors. He admits that some of the content he encountered during his investigations was profoundly unsettling. "I went very, very deep," Thorne states, reflecting on his journey through the disturbing ideologies espoused by figures in this online subculture, including the infamous Andrew Tate, who has faced serious allegations of misconduct.
What struck Thorne most, however,
was not the rhetoric of these high-profile influencers, but rather the small blogs and social media posts authored by teenagers who were adopting incel philosophies to rationalize their feelings of rejection and loneliness.
"I knew as a teenager I'd have been attracted to that philosophy.
I wouldn't have been drawn in like Jamie was drawn in, but I knew that there were elements of it that would have made real sense to me," he explains. This revelation underscored the urgency of the story he sought to tell.
Adolescence paints a stark picture of how such ideologies can infiltrate young minds.
Jamie's violent outburst is rooted in a toxic blend of rejection and societal pressure fueled by incel teachings that preach a distorted view of masculinity and romantic relationships.
In one poignant scene, Jamie's anger toward Katie escalates after she rejects his date proposal,
which he only musters after she has been publicly shamed at school. The series examines how these harmful narratives shape young boys' perceptions of women and relationships, showcasing the devastating effects of online radicalization.
The show's reception has ignited discussions about the impact of social media on youth.
With over 96 million views, Adolescence not only achieved chart-topping success in the US and the UK but also prompted critical conversations surrounding the accessibility of harmful online content to minors. Thorne advocates for stricter regulations on social media access for children, suggesting a global age limit of 16.
"It becomes like cigarettes.
It becomes like alcohol," he argues, underscoring the need for protective measures to shield young users from potentially damaging influences. The conversation around regulating social media is gaining traction globally, with countries like Australia enacting legislation to restrict access for users under 16.
Meanwhile,
experts in the field of counter-extremism such as Milo Comerford from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue argue that holding platforms accountable for the content they promote may be more effective than outright bans. The interplay of technology, mental health, and youth vulnerability remains a complex and evolving issue. Thorne's intent with Adolescence was clear: he aimed to foster understanding without eliciting sympathy for characters like Jamie. While viewers witness the complexities of his struggles, Thorne ensures that the narrative does not excuse or justify the violence that ensues. Instead, it offers a sobering reflection on the urgent need for greater awareness and dialogue about the challenges young people face in an increasingly digital world. As the cultural conversation surrounding masculinity, mental health, and online influences continues to evolve, Adolescence serves as a poignant reminder of the potential consequences of unchecked ideologies. With the landscape of youth culture rapidly shifting, Thorne's insights may pave the way for future discussions on how to better support young people navigating the complexities of modern life, both online and off. In recent weeks, America has witnessed a worrying trend of detaining visa and green card holders, raising alarms about the implications of the Trump administration's intensified immigration crackdown. These incidents not only disrupt the lives of individuals caught in the crosshairs but also resonate with broader concerns about civil liberties and the treatment of immigrants within the United States. Among the most notable cases is that of Rumeysa Ozturk, a Tufts University doctoral student who was detained by ICE agents near her home in Massachusetts. Ozturk, who is in the U.S. on a valid student visa, was arrested while leaving to break her Ramadan fast, a situation that has raised eyebrows about the motivations behind such aggressive enforcement actions. Her university, Tufts, confirmed that it had no prior knowledge of the operation, underlining the abrupt nature of her detention. Ozturk's case appears politically charged, linked to her activism on campus, particularly regarding the Palestinian cause. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has publicly stated that her visa was revoked due to her alleged support for Hamas, a claim that reignites debates over freedom of speech and political expression in academic settings.
Another alarming case involves Dr. Rasha Alawi, a Lebanese kidney transplant specialist at Brown University. Despite holding a valid visa, she was deported upon her return from Lebanon after customs officers reportedly found sympathetic content related to Hezbollah on her phone. The swift action taken against Alawi, despite a court order temporarily blocking her deportation, raises serious questions about the adherence to judicial processes and the rights of immigrants. The impacts of these detentions ripple beyond individual cases, affecting public perception and the willingness of international students and tourists to visit the U.S. Reports indicate a noticeable decline in travel to America as potential visitors re-evaluate their plans in light of the administration's hardline stance on immigration. Foreign governments, recognizing the climate of uncertainty, have begun issuing travel warnings to their citizens.
These developments have led to a chilling effect among immigrant communities, particularly among those engaged in activism or who have expressed dissenting views against U.S. foreign policy. For instance, Mahmoud Khalil, a green card holder and former Columbia University graduate student, has faced deportation threats tied to his involvement in campus protests. This pattern of targeting individuals based on their political beliefs or affiliations raises fundamental questions about the balance between national security and civil liberties. As the Trump administration continues to enforce stringent immigration policies, the consequences for those detained can be severe and life-altering. Individuals like Llewellyn Dixon, a longtime green card holder who was detained after a trip to the Philippines, find themselves ensnared in a complex web of legal challenges that may stem from decades-old convictions. Similarly, cases involving foreign tourists like that of Jessica Brashi, who was held for over 6 weeks due to suspicions about her intentions, highlight the precarious nature of immigration enforcement and its potential for abuse. Looking ahead, the trajectory of these immigration policies will likely continue to spark controversy and debate, with ongoing legal challenges and public scrutiny. There may be calls for reform to ensure that the rights of both documented and undocumented individuals are upheld. As these stories unfold, they serve as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between security measures and the fundamental rights of individuals, a balance that will be crucial in shaping America's immigration landscape in the coming years. In a groundbreaking study published recently in the Journal of the American Heart Association, researchers have revealed that fitting in physical activity during the weekend can be just as beneficial to health as spreading exercise throughout the week. This finding challenges long-held beliefs about the necessity of daily exercise, suggesting that the timing of physical activity may be less important than previously thought. The study, led by Zhihao Li from Southern Medical University in China, analyzed data from over 93,000 participants in the UK Biobank, focusing on the health outcomes of those who completed the recommended 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity. The results were compelling. Weekend warriors, individuals who packed their weekly exercise into just 1 or 2 days, experienced a 32% lower risk of death from all causes compared to those who were inactive. The risk of dying from cardiovascular disease and cancer was also significantly reduced. Interestingly, those who spread their exercise across the week saw similar benefits, with reductions in mortality risks of 26% for all causes, 24% for cardiovascular disease, and 13% for cancer. This study adds to what we know about the right way to be active, commented Iman Lee from Harvard Medical School. That is, there is no single right way. This perspective aligns with the World Health Organization's guidelines, which encourage adults to engage in at least 150 minutes of physical activity weekly, whether through brisk walking, running, or other forms of exercise. The implications of this study are far-reaching, particularly in a society where time constraints often hinder consistent daily workout regimens. The findings suggest that individuals can achieve substantial health benefits without adhering to a strict daily exercise schedule, providing a more flexible approach to fitness that may encourage more people to engage in physical activity. However, the study is not without its limitations. The data were largely collected from a homogeneous population in the UK comprising about 97% white participants. The researchers acknowledged the need for further studies that include a more diverse demographic to validate the results and enhance their applicability to broader populations. As we look to the future, the findings may encourage a shift in public health messaging towards a more inclusive definition of exercise that accommodates varied lifestyles. As more individuals embrace the idea of weekend workouts, there is potential for an increase in overall physical activity levels, which could lead to improved public health outcomes. This study not only reiterates the importance of physical activity but also highlights a transformative approach, one that empowers individuals to take control of their health in a way that fits their lives, potentially reshaping how we view exercise in the context of daily living. As more research emerges, we may soon see a shift in fitness culture, one that prioritizes the act of moving over the specifics of when or how it is done.